So we start to record now. So now we have to be serious and to be very intelligent. So if there is any question, any sharing or on what I've spoken or anything else, you're free to speak.
Yeah, I would like to ask something regarding the last thing you said, actually. When you said the only opinion that matters is the one we have about ourselves. This somehow to me, sounds like, I mean, like literally what other people say doesn't matter. And this somehow, I don't know, it brings me into a position where I think this is, I'm kind of a social being, right, in a social environment. So I should also consider what other people say. But yeah, if it's about me, you're saying I shouldn't consider it somehow, or where's the line of like difference between taking only our opinion about ourselves as the only one that counts and not neglecting others?
Well, to me, from a perspective, because it is a fact of experience. Because the fact of experience is like you have no idea what people think of you. Even if someone come to you and say something to you about you, like you smell very good, right? That's what you hear, right? You smell very good. Well, first, you don't know if they are lying to you. Maybe they're just polite. Maybe
Right.
that's what they say to everyone. Maybe they don't have smell, so they just say, maybe I think people smell good, so I'm just tell them. Maybe he have too much perfume and he's smelling his own self, so he's honest, but he's just confused into who is smelling what. Or maybe he just mean and try to manipulate you. So he say this, but in his mind is, I will steal his money. Or. So you don't know. You're just hearing something, and you just receive, and you feel good or you feel bad. But the way you feel, it's your responsibility. It's in you, right? For example, if I come to you and I say, you are a horse, you will just listen, you will check, and that's very strange because I don't feel like a horse. So if he said to me, I am a horse, and I receive I am a horse, it tells more about him. He have a difficulty of perception because I'm not a horse. I don't feel like a horse. So I think he has an issue with his perception and his understanding of what is a human body and a horse body, or maybe he's confused about the meaning of horse. So what he's telling is more about him than me, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's very subjective, right? In the
Yeah,
sense.
exactly. Yeah,
So,
but
yeah, I
well,
was thinking of more like trusted friends, let's say, or family, in the sense of when they were, I don't know. I mean, when they have an opinion about what you do and they tell you something because they mean good for you, maybe in the sense of, I don't know, what your lifestyle is not beneficial for your health, something like that.
yeah.
It's like that's, and if they are like, I don't know, doctors, then somehow I'm wondering,
Yeah,
okay, shouldn't I
okay.
consider
But understand. But it's the same. So if someone come to you and say you are very intelligent, right? Then you will take the message again, just like the horse. You will say, "Tell me, I feel intelligent. I am intelligent. Oh yeah, I am very intelligent." It will support a belief that is already within you.
Mhm.
But maybe you feel stupid, and but you hear you are very intelligent, but your own experiences, I'm feeling stupid. I'm. So in any way, the subjectivity of your experience, the absolute subjectivity of your experience, will always be the last judgment.
Okay. Yeah.
Will cast the last sentence on what is on the belief that is coming towards you.
Okay, I get it now. Yeah, you mean if in the end I wouldn't agree or disagree, I would act differently in that sense, right? So in the end, what I if I take it as, let's say, good advice or bad advice, that's in the end
Yeah,
me. Or if I take it as something, oh, I should do something about my lifestyle. What I will do exactly also depends on me. Okay, now I
yeah,
understand
yeah.
what you're referring to. Okay,
Mm,
okay,
mm.
thanks.
And that's why that's why relationships are very good because good. They are good. That's why we can say that they are a mirror. We use the people to validate our beliefs. So if I feel beautiful, I want people who will support this belief or this experience I'm having. And if I feel very ugly, I want people around me that tell me that I'm beautiful. So I will maybe get away from this belief. And that's where the game of relationship and special relationship and addiction and dependency start.
Hmm.
But when you see more and more that no, it has not what people said has nothing to do about me. Maybe I can absorb things as I can take things personally, but this has nothing to do with other people. If someone come to me and say, David, you are stupid, I will check. And if I get angry, I will say, oh, I feel stupid. I feel really stupid. So first I say, okay, yeah, I feel stupid. And then it has nothing to do with the other. Either he's right, so I'm very stupid. So yeah, he's just saying something that is a fact. So I mean, there's no emotion to have about that. Or I'm not stupid, and the fact that he says I'm stupid is like saying I'm a horse. So in either way, it's meaningless. Yeah, in the sense that it has
Yeah,
nothing to do with other people.
yeah.
And then the whole process about working with the belief and all of that, this is something else.
Yeah, it's funny. Unknowingly, this is exactly what you described. What happens, but I never paid attention to the moment when this ultimate opinion or ultimate judgment from my side has been done. But yeah, now I will pay attention to that. Thanks.
Pay attention. You really see how drastically your life change without doing anything special. I mean, check it out and give me a feedback if you can. I'm very interested if something
I
changed for
will.
you.
Yeah, thanks.
That's why I speak often about sensitivity. Yeah, that's right, but I never pay attention. Yeah, well, start paying attention to this. There's a lot of things to pay attention.
Yeah, I wonder. This can be overwhelming as well. I mean, now I imagine myself like every time somebody speaks to me, I will be paying attention. I have to pay attention to what they're saying and what's happening inside me as well. So it seems like an additional task in a sense, but yeah, it's probably beneficial.
Mm. No, it's just habit. At the beginning, maybe it feel like it take a lot of energy, but in fact, it take more energy to play the game of you are responsible of what I feel because you said this to me and I remember last week you said this to me and now I have
Right.
this and now I feel shitty and I'm suffering. Now I have to pay a psychologist to go talk because I have to work with what my mother told me 15 years ago and now I feel it's way more complex than to pay attention to what is happening right here, right now. But at the beginning, it made me feel that is the opposite. So that's why at the beginning, it feels like it is harder and it is something more to do. But in fact, you are starting to do less,
Hmm.
and that's why
Yes.
it's the ease of being. The more you relax into your being, the less you do. Yeah, yeah. 2 minutes, but yeah, you see, it's like imagine a world where you woke up happy, and no matter what people say around you, no matter what information is reaching your perception, your happiness do not move or just grow. No matter what people say around you. You're a happy guy, you're a sad guy, you are rich, you are poor, you are fat, you are big, you are beautiful, you are ugly, you are this, you are that. And it's just like traveling in my being. Yeah.
Yeah, it ends in a place where I don't even listen to my own opinion about myself, I guess. Then, there's some.
Yeah. Pay attention. You will see what happens.
Hmm.
Pay attention. But don't go into thought, right? That's very good. But reach this conclusion by direct engagement, right? By really seeing.
Yeah, nice.
But there you had a question?
Thank you for being here. I actually have two questions. I'll try to condense them. This is a little outside of non-dual teaching world, but I haven't been able to find any answers anywhere. I began having physical phenomena in my meditations, and they increased to such a degree that I was having full body convulsions, kind of, where my body was shaking. Seemed to come, seemed to originate in my below my belly or around my belly. Somehow I would feel like bubbles like you get with indigestion, and I would be deep in meditation, so not paying attention to my body really, and then it would increase until I started looking at it, and it seemed to be happening without any conscious intention on my part. Um, it's been a big deal and frightening at times. I have no reference for this. Somebody said maybe I was having a Kundalini awakening. Looked that up. I don't know. But if everything is one, who who is this manifesting this that I don't feel is coming from my physical mind, I guess I would say. Words are tricky here because mind can mean something different at different times, but I'm saying it happens without me giving it direction.
Mm. And it is the aspect that you are not directing this vibration or this movement, this tremor in your belly that produce a lot of fear, and it's a big deal. That's why. The big deal is that you don't feel in control of this tremor. This is the big deal.
No, the big deal is that I don't understand the purpose of
Mm.
the purpose, and it feels like purposeful. It feels
Okay.
it feels like it's not happening for no reason, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm.
Um, and I don't know if you've ever heard of anything like this before.
I
But I'm just
have.
trying to figure out a way of thinking of it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what you're saying is very interesting. Do you have a specific question, or you just want, or you want me to give you a feedback? Or you have a very specific question that you want to ask?
Um, do you have any insight?
Yeah, yeah. There is a lot of aspects that allow the body to function are not under your control. You are aware of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the heart, like the digestion, like the hormonal system, like I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I cannot name the infinity and the complexity of the human body, but it just maybe 99% of what's happening inside the body, you have no idea that it is even there, right? So the first aspect I simply want to point out is that the body is taken care of already since it was born. So this aspect is checked, right? That the body will be fine. The body will do what the body does, no matter if I control it or not, right? So this is a reflection that there is an intelligence that we cannot grasp, that I call divine intelligence, or you can call an infinite intelligence that is holding everything together, is holding the functioning of the body. The body function, and it is a biomechanical machine that is of an infinite complexity. It is really ungraspable, the complexity of these things that is here, right? But it is already functioning before this event in your life, right? And it's still functioning. So whatever is happening, it is part of a process of an unfoldment that your body is in also. Okay. Now, there's the first aspect to understand is that the nervous system inside your body is holding energies. I'm not talking. It's very physical, right? I mean, there are the emotions are energies that travel through the nervous system, and depending on how you deal with them, they get stuck in the body in different parts. That's why people who are very traumatized have a posture, have a way they move the body, depending if the trauma is abuse, is early childhood abuse, is war, is accident, car accident, is there's many type of events that can mark and leave an imprint in the nervous system. You are with me?
Yes.
Okay. So when things get stuck in the nervous system, because the body still need to function in this life, it will just absorb them as natural, as normal. So for example, if you are a child and you have a bike accident and you just hurt yourself very badly, and it is very traumatic emotionally also somehow, and somehow you should get a little bit more upright, you see like this a little bit. And you do nothing to heal, right? Because you are young, because nothing matters and everything will be fine. So the body will simply, okay, that's the normal, that's the norm, to have the shoulder like this is normal, and you live your life normal, and you will build your identity, the way you feel your body, your relationship, everything, the way you move, the way you swim, everything will be, this is normal. Okay. At some point you find a doctor, you find a chiropractor that will, you know what, this is not normal, maybe we can do something about that. And then he moves you, and suddenly you are you are feeling your elbow like, this is so strange, what is and it feels so natural to have your shoulder in that position, which is healthy and normal, but it is so different than this, that things start to happen just because of the posture only. Right? What's so strange? This is normal, this is not normal. And then naturally you will come back to this because this is normal. So there is a mechanical process to come back to a healthy posture in the body. Okay, but because the posture was not only an accident right? Because it was an accident, a physical accident, but emotionally, there was an emotion there, right? For whatever, you know. So when you come back this, it woke up this history, right? Wake up the emotion that was kind of that was connected with the accident, right? And then
Understand?
you start to have emotion, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this to say that when they are part of the nervous system who start to realign, they start to free to free the energy, to free the emotion, to free what was there, stuck, right, in the nervous system.
Okay.
A lot of trauma are stuck in the nervous system. But trauma, I don't want to do a big deal about trauma. Trauma is simply a strong emotion that is in the body that it's very difficult to feel because it's too much. So this is stuck in the nervous system, and often the emotion gets stuck in the belly and the chest, right? That's where the main part, where the main emotion are stuck. So when you start to do meditation, you start to investigate into what you are, into what is reality, into what's happening, and you must start to quiet down. And that's how the image was, like the elbows start to go back to the normality, right? You start to find space in your meditation that maybe were very new and what was this? And your body start to realign itself, right? So the nervous system start to realign itself. But the way it does it, it start to shake, right? When I work with trauma, when there is a tremor in the body, that's a sign that the nervous system is releasing energy, is releasing the emotion. That's why when you cry, you move the body, right? Because all of your body is involved in the sadness, for example. But if there is sadness, I want to cry in all of this movement, but because of family, because of the event, you can't stop crying, or whatever. All of this energy gets stuck in the body and you are still now, right? So now you don't move. But the emotion is still there, but it couldn't be expressed. So suddenly, when you go in meditation, maybe the movement of the cry start to express itself, like tremor. But that's a sign of the body realigning itself. It's a sign that the nervous system is finding its harmonious way of functioning. And so the way I would say is there is way you can activate this tremor consciously. It's not really that you activate, it's more like you let it happen. Right? You relax, okay, this is you kind of call this tremor inside experience and do it for maximum 20 minutes. Because maybe even more, start with 1 minute, 2 minutes every day, 1 minute, 2 minutes every day. Because you don't want to overwhelm your nervous system either. You have to release the energy that is in your nervous system, but you don't have to release too much, otherwise the nervous system cannot reintegrate and repattern what was released. So it's very healthy that is happening. That's my guess, right? You have to be sensitive, right? It's your body in your life, but do very, very short period of time, 1 minute every day for a week. And if you feel better, do 2 minutes every day a week. And if you still feel better, do 3 minutes and better. And if you feel worse, well, start to reduce. You know, if 1 minute is too much and you start to feel worse, well, do 1 minute every 2 days. And if you keep on 1 minute every, sensitive, very slowly, very slowly, very slowly. And you go up until 20 minutes. And 20 minutes is the maximum that you allow this tremor to be in you. And then you stop it. Does it make sense? And I have another answer, but I don't want to overwhelm you.
No, I'm not overwhelmed. I'm thinking
Okay.
it through. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. if you have a question, you can ask for a pause, right? If you feel that you have a question. And the second part of what I want to tell you is that there is a part of in our mind that believes that it is in control of everything, and it is a very deep, a very strong part in us that want to control everything, and this sense of control come from the fear. Right? If I control the people around me, if I control the world around me, if I control the society, I can orient all of that in a way that I will be safe. I will be happy, right? So the control comes from fear. So any aspect of your experience that start to challenge the control, start to say, you know what? You're not in control in this tremor in your belly. Careful. Because this is not only because physically it can be very challenging, because it's new, right? Because you know what's happening. But also there is this part to say, wait, if I'm not in control with that, well, what will happen? Maybe there's other things that are not in control, right? So it will wake up the fear of not being in control.
Mm-hmm.
So that this is another aspect, right? To be aware of this aspect that there's a part of your mind that need to be in control because it is terror. It lives in terror of life and of things, of event. So losing control is from its perspective entering into absolute chaos and fear, absolute fear. Right? From its perspective. And that's when you explore the sense of control in a more direct way. But for now on, I will be very gentle and keep doing this exploration of the tremor. And you say something that is very important, very I think very intelligent and very sensitive, is that you feel that is meaningful, that is part of something meaningful.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
connect to this. When the tremor appear, connect to, okay, start to build this faith. No, but I know I'm afraid. It's new. I don't know what's happening, and no one knows ultimately, right? I'm giving you a framework, which I think it's the best one I can give you about this tremor. But what will really support you is your own experience of this is, I don't understand it. I'm a little bit afraid, but it is meaningful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So letting the tremor come, and it is I don't understand, but it's okay, right? It's meaningful, right? It's start to trust this
Yeah,
part of you.
that's been evolving in that direction. And the other day I said welcome.
Beautiful.
Because I've exhausted all the other options, basically. So it's not going away. Right. Not now anyway. Thank you. I don't want to take up too much time. There's other people here that may have a need.
No. You don't take. Everyone is learning from this conversation, even myself too.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay. And if anything, you can reach out, right? You can send me an email if there is something that you really need an answer fast. You can send me an email.
I can speak, David.
Yeah.
from what he's saying, not to paraphrase, like he was saying that in essence, reality, there is no separation whatsoever. We are that reality. Or words to that effect. And yeah, I agree that when we go into the senses, can't find that separation whatsoever. And I've done a lot of investigation and still carry on doing that investigation. And yet some of the most famous teachers, even like Nisargadatta Maharaj, who I follow, and even the modern teachers like Rupert Spira, they say disentangle yourself from the contents of experience. I mean, Nisargadatta famously said that we can't really say what we truly are, a bit like you said about infinity. But we can all, and in fact, it's like the first page of the book. I am that, but it's all we explain ourselves by what we're not. We can define ourselves by what we're not, but we can't really define ourselves what we are. I'm just wondering what you think about that sort of like comment, because if there's a not something, we're not our body, we're not our mind, we're not our thoughts. Is that some type of division on one level? Just, I think the way Rupert Spira explains it, he says, almost like create an artificial division as a stage one to get a true sort of like understanding of who we are. And then stage two, to go into the senses and to go into experience and find out that this artificial separation wasn't actually there. But now we've got a clear, because sometimes I've seen people do the exercises and they can't discern themselves from the senses. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I suppose there's a question in there is, do you feel that approach is a good approach, a stage one and a stage two, to try and get a good feel for who you truly are before then going into the senses? And also, sort of like a secondary question for that is that if we are aware of being aware, does that actually involve the senses? So there's experience there, but does it actually involve any of the senses? So there's like a two-part question there, yeah. If you don't mind.
Yeah. What you express was my experience. It is my memory of this process for me. The first, I don't want to talk too much about me, but I think it's meaningful for this conversation. The biggest mistake I did for years was trying to reach something out there. Like I assume myself to be something. I define myself and identify with this identification. And from that identification, from that perspective, I try to reach some kind of understanding of awareness. So I started with, I am my body, I am my personality, I am David, and the world, I'm here, the world is out there, and awareness is something that I will reach somehow. I don't know how, but I will reach it, right? And I spend years, I learned a lot in this process, yeah. So to answer this confusion, this erroneous perspective, this wrong approach to exploration, you say, look carefully, because stop looking, stop seeking things, start to see, are you your perceptions? And you say no. Are you your thoughts? And you say no. Are you your body? Are you a sensation? You say no. So then you say, you see, you are not what you believed. You are not that which you believe to be. So you are not the thing that from which you try to understand reality. So it's a wrong perspective. So your starting point is wrong already. That's why you never understand or find anything, because your starting point is erroneous. And that's how you start to speak about awareness and consciousness, right? You just say, wait, see that you are the thing that is aware. You are that which is conscious. You are this pure, transparent, infinite presence. That's what you are, right? And you are not your experience. You are not your perception. You are not this. So you create a separation as a tool, right, to support you. And then that's where maybe you have experience and it's amazing and you think that you are done, right? Oh, so nice. And then you say, but wait a moment, as you say, right? But if I'm not this, but I am that, I'm still somehow, I feel there is something odd here, because it's not really true that I'm not my body, right? Because experience is here. So it's kind of, it is true, but but at the same time, maybe there is something that feel that is not fully understood, right? It's like there's something that, and then you say, okay, now that you understand this perspective, now that you have this sensitivity, that you are that which you cannot name, that you are that you cannot see, that you are that you cannot feel. So really, you are that, which is not really a that in the sense that is a what, right? Okay. So you have this awareness, let's say, this, to use a word, right? So from that perspective, start to investigate your experience directly. So from that clarity, start to bring your sense of separation in it and see what's happening. And that's when you start to investigate sensation. Of course, I'm a body, I'm awareness, and I'm inside the body. And then you bring the body in, and then you say, well, the body is really sensation. And they're not really one sensation, they kind of vibrate together, right? I mean, it's when I try to find, this is a hand, right? This is an arm, obviously. It's obviously a hand, it's obviously an arm. If you cut my hand, I will say I will, obviously. But when I start to feel the sensation, I can't really put a border between where is the sensation of the hand and where is the sensation of the arm begin, right? Where is the border there? You don't find it. So that's just, oh, that's very interesting. So the limitation, it's a sensation itself. And that's how you bring your experience into this awareness. And that's how the separation start to dissolve. So yeah, it makes perfectly sense to me.
And being aware of
I forgot.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. Well, being aware of being aware, it's really poesy. Rupert is very elegant. And it's a poesy, but it is wrong. It's inaccurate. Because you cannot be aware of being aware. To be aware, you have to be aware of something. That's why experience is never naked. You never see reality itself. You always see an expression of it. That's why this is what I call the shining forth. Right? You never actually see reality. Just as you never actually see the wind, You never actually see the wind. You see the tree moving, and you say the wind is moving the tree, but the wind, you never see it. The nature of the wind is that it's unseeable. So you never see the wind ever. So you see only its expression, and that's why in this line of reasoning that you are presenting come from the Advaita. In Advaita, they use a lot the three states: the waking state, the sleeping state, and the dreamless state. I don't know how they call that. And they use that by saying, because when there is nothing to be aware of, there is absolutely no memory, no thing, nothing. It's like there is nothing happening. There is absolutely no memory. So when you are aware of awareness, it's nothing happening. So it's more from my understanding. I will never put word on Rupert or anyone, but for my understanding, it's pedagogical, right? It's an inspiration, right? To be aware of awareness, right? It's kind of it's for inspiration, which is a great way to do, you know, poesy, art. It's beautiful for that. Does it make sense to you? Do you resonate with what I'm saying?
Yeah, sort of, because when I pull attention, you can't go behind, sort of like when it sort of like relaxes in on itself. The sense I get from awareness, you sort of like get a feeling, don't you? Or whatever. And then you go, well, what's the word of that feeling? So you never fully get back to a full emptiness, like you said.
No.
It's like I said, it's that impossibility. But what I also do not notice about awareness is there's like a sense of knowingness. There's that knowing quality. I think I was talking last week that I've had a couple like little, I won't say little, you said little insights, and you've got like a knowing aspect to that. Someone says to me now, put a gun to my head and say, tell me something true about your nature. I'll say, I exist, and it's a living, breathing insight. And I've got this like knowingness that it's just completely and utterly undeniable. And it's the same now that it seems to be growing about seeing through the false character. So it's like two sides of the coin, knowing that I am, as they say, the classic one. And also in that respect, knowing that I'm not this false character anymore. So is the knowingness, can't see any objective qualities in a knowingness. It's just a real sense that since I've been on this, before about a month ago, before this insight came, what was a turning point for me is that I read loads of books and obviously YouTube videos and all that, and people were telling me I was infinite consciousness or awareness or whatever. And to me, they were just like free floating terms. Although I believed I was more than the mind of the body, I was still searching.
Mhm.
But now, sort of like I had this insight to know that I exist. It's come like a flash. The search is off. The search is off. And now, the way I explain it is that when I'm inquiring now, I'm inquiring into an undeniable truth, an unshakable truth, which is different than searching for my true nature. Does that make sense? It's just a general inquiry into something that's obvious, that's undeniable. And so the search is off. And it's the same with the character now. Now the character has fallen, but that's not to say that I don't get identified, by the way. Or there's that's residual stuff there. Virtually all my anxieties and worries and all that have dropped away. And now it's just like further deepening for me now, this with the likes of yourself, you know, and like that. because it's, you know, it's not just, and I now know, just like you were saying at the start, this is infinite now. I feel like it's the start, but now I'm on the right track. I've found the rock, as it were, as you know, to quote Jesus, you know what I mean? Build your house on the rock. I really do feel like I found the rock, and it's building up from that, you know. So now the search is off, and the inquiry is just into an undeniable truth. That's how we can explain it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Sounds that you're in a beautiful place.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I mean, like you said, and just your pointers last week were brilliant. I was really like meditating on them. So your words are really helpful, David. Yeah, yeah, they really are.
There is two sayings that goes very that are very beautiful, and they were very helpful to me. The first one is, when the path to God end, the path in God begin. And that's how I feel you are. You use that, yeah, my presence is an absolute fact.
Yeah.
But from the materialistic perspective, or from the wrong perspective, your sense of presence is caused by the brain, is caused by things out there. So it's not a fact, really. It's kind of I say uh, uh, a secondary effect, right? But like no, like noise in the system. You know, there is life here, and there is a brain, and there's some noise, which is my presence, right? It's nothing important. Like, yeah. But no, it's the opposite. The fact that what you say brilliantly right now. So that's beautiful. Yeah, this is the bedrock of exploration, because it is. So that's where you start, and then, like Rumi, this beautiful Rumi says, it's a ever falling. It's a falling into ever whitening uh, ring of light, and that's why I think it's really infinite. The realization is absolute, but the exploration is infinite, and there's no contradiction, right? In neither. It's a clear realization, like I really understand this. At the same time, I understand that is impossible to understand, and that's the realization. That's the infinity. So yeah, beautiful. You are in a beautiful place.
And then just yesterday, that little pockets and nuggets of like clear seeing came in. So I was like just walking down this. I'm lucky enough to live in nature, and I was just pondering that in nature everything is just. It's just, you know, when people say it's just be. And then I was thinking that there's just absolutely no resistance whatsoever in nature. And I was like looking at this tree in the wind, and the wind was blowing the branches all over. And yet there was a force there, but the branches were going with it. And then it stopped and it just settled. And then something sort of like released inside me, as if to say, you know, trust this process. I was going to say that to you, Patay, you know, just let go. Just sort of like let go and trust it. Knowing that I felt like if I just let go at that moment, I'd be taken care of. When in the past I felt like if I let go, like you said, I thought I was going to lose something. By just the sheer fact of just letting go, I felt like, yeah, everything was going to be okay. That's how I feel. So anyway, I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for sharing. Beautiful.
Maybe I can just quickly, because it fitted to something. I mean, what Paul said, and also what you said, is something I was thinking about when you were saying this. Basically, hitting the wall or the impossibility of knowing emptiness, I somehow was wondering, yeah, at some stage, I don't know, I felt that I was looking for some identity, right? At some point, you try to lose your maybe ego or whatever, and that's not your true identity, and you look for some other identity. But this is just replacing one identity with another identity. And now I'm in some point where I feel like, okay, nothing will ever be something I can really identify with, because yeah, even this emptiness is just another identity in a sense. And yeah, still I feel this strong need for an identity. And I mean, okay, I've had one my whole life, so that maybe could be something that just goes away over time. But yeah, I was just wondering about this. Like, is this part of the illusion, basically, of this wanting of having an identity that just one needs to be accepting, let's say, at some point? Or does it resolve itself?
To me, my identity is still here. If someone enters the room and say David, I will answer. If I look at the screen, I will say this guy with the yellow things seem to be me. So there is some kind of identity at some level. So to me, it is imagination that you can let go completely of identity. If this happen, you functioning in everyday life will be impossible. So maybe if you are in what they call the coma, that's where there is no identity at all, body function, but there is really no one there. So I think, and even that, we don't know really what people are experiencing there. So it's kind of a not very good image. But the way is, I think the best way I'm trying to always be is very practical and very be functional. I think the best way to approach identity is to withdraw the meaning out of it. And you do that by seeing. Just like it is interesting because it is in the same direction of your first question, what people think about you. Because when you see that what people think about yourself have nothing to do with you, you will see your sense of identity. When you see that no one around you know yourself, who you are, your sense of identity kind of really drops so much. And then you maybe will find that what this voice that is talking to you is not your voice. And whatever it said, it has nothing to say to you either. It doesn't know, the voice that you are hearing does not know more of what you are than the people who are talking around you. And it's really the same. It's really the same. When you see this, while the sense of identity drop again, even if it's something stay, but what stays is very functional. So there is a functionality in identity, right? Like
Yeah, it's looking for stability.
if you have a family, well, it's functional to recognize your son. Otherwise, it's problematic if you go to you don't know which one it is you, and you pick up the wrong child, and you go very problematic. So so the sense of identity is functional. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's said to be wrong when you think that this identity that is appearing means something. It defines you in any way. And I think this is more functional to approach it that way, because when you see that whatever people say about David it's an opinion, has no value at all. When you see that the voice that is trying to convince me of who I am and do things is really have no meaning whatsoever, and then you enter into things that are very different. So again, it's not a you don't lose your functional identity and you gain something else, right? It's more like it's a all encompassing. It's always more. So of course I'm a body. Of course I'm David, but then not really. If I want to be really accurate, I'm not my body. I'm not David. I'm something more. but this is here, and I'm more, but this is here, but I'm even more, but this is here, but I'm even more, but this is here. So it's always more. So there's no sacrifice. You lose nothing. You can still play your role. You can still function as a human if that's what you want. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with anything. So that's the way I will approach identity. Would be to see the meaning of it, to see it, if it has really value, and if it has value, why it's so valuable, and if you keep approaching that way, you will see that the attachment to identity will fall away, because, as was saying Paul, you start to find the fact of reality. You start to find the fact of existence, the essence of existence. You start to be in touch with that from which everything arises. So the meaning of life is really this essence. So you start to be in contact with the meaning, with the meaningless of the true meaning of everything. And this will seduce you more and more, and you will just see that identity is here, but it's like, this is here. Okay, so what? Well, I mean, nothing. What's the big deal? There's a red bottle in my life. Well, so what? But people who say, I have to do something about this, I have to dissolve the bottle, I have to make it green, blue, white, transparent, I have to do this. This is a problem. No, there is no problem with identity. There's no problem with anything. Everything is fine. Everything is perfect. Just be sensitive to what is actually here. And the beauty is, what you are the reality, this intelligence, this divine intelligence will do the heavy lifting for you. And it will start to take care of your experience, which is it already doing, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. I think your example with the bottle was actually spot on for me, because that is somehow how it feels. Like there is a loss of hierarchy in some sense, or priority maybe. Like, yeah, these thoughts that somehow were previously defining, or I was relating to define myself, are somehow, yeah, now just some sense like objects out there. I mean, instead of quote unquote out there, they are like inside. I mean, but yeah, that's why I think it probably, like you said, it takes care of itself, and at some point it will equalize more, and then the question will probably just begun.
Yeah, if you start to feel that there is no hierarchy, keep investigating that way and see what happens. Because the mind builds a lot of priorities, right? It is everything is hierarchical, right? That my family is more important than this family. This body is more important than the other body, and this sensation is more important than that. This thought is more important than that. This memory, which is a thought, is more important than this memory, and all of this. But when you start to feel that what is important is the fact of experience, or the fact that there is experience is the meaning. The way it expresses itself is not important. The meaning is experience. Is this shining forth? The way it expresses itself, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I was literally wondering, like, is it is it more important that I have these thoughts about myself, or is it more important that I see things, like experience sight or something? And in that sense, somehow, yeah, it came to me that I realized there is no hierarchy in that sense. All, like you said, experience. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. In a way, I know there is a school of exploring the self, like who am I, and things like that. But I think it's very messy, because it's the self and reality are one and the same. So if you explore reality, you are exploring the same thing. So explore perception, explore object, explore your body, explore this, explore that. It will be easier, and you are investigating the same thing anyway. And you will see at some point, you will see that the whole question of the self, identity, no identity, it's really silly.
Yeah, thank you. I will take it with me.
Yeah. That's why this is freedom. If there is no hierarchy, whatever important is appearing to you, it's fine if it is there. There's nothing wrong. If you what is important in your life is having a Ferrari, it's perfectly fine. If your purpose in your life is discovering the nature of reality, it's perfectly fine. Because there's no hierarchy in anything. Whatever is important for you from your perspective is what is important from your perspective, and that's it. But it is true that there will be you will engage with experience very, very differently if you understand what you are or if you don't. But it is the same in essence. And that's why it's easier to me to, and I think it's more functional to say, whatever impulse you have is perfectly fine. Don't engage with impulse. Don't start to judge anything, because there is no hierarchy. So therefore, whatever you choose to do or not to do, it's perfectly fine, because there's nothing specifically that you have to do. You don't have to do yoga. You don't have to read book. You don't have to meditate. But you can meditate, you can do yoga, and you can read books. No, it's not one or the other. It's just both are fine. Whatever is happening is happening. That engage that if you drive a Ferrari, you can taste God in that, or you can taste God being sitting on the floor, because God is tasteless. So every taste that appears, it's God itself. It's reality itself. And when you start to withdraw, or you start to feel this, what you are, you will see that experience is meaningful because it is happening. Experiencing is the meaning of life. But the way it is experienced, or the way it presents itself, uh, doesn't change that fact. That's also a good way to deal with control. the, the easy way, it's the best way, right? So I tell you this. We are afraid to lose control because we are afraid that we lose something, that bad thing will happen to us, because we think that if this body dies, it's worse than if I lose my house. If this body dies, it's worse than if this happened. Or these people die is worse than if my house burning. It's all of this imagination is appearing. So this sense of control. But when you start to get in touch with the meaning of life, which is your own being, your own presence, you see that if I have control or I don't have control, it really doesn't change the fact of experience. So to say to say there's no control is true, but is not totally true, right? Because there is an experience of control. So instead of trying to manage a conclusion, to reach some kind of conclusion in one way or the other, just let it go of it. Let go, some part I feel control, some part don't feel control, but that's doesn't mean anything. What meaning is like I'm present. And When I'm not in control, I'm present. When I'm in control, I'm present. What is that is present in both experience? That's more meaningful, right? Because it's more near of reality. It's more, and you will start to see that the beauty of having control and the beauty of not having control. When you're having control, you feel powerful and you can do things, and then everything collapses and you feel powerless. And there's a lot of beauty in feeling powerless and losing everything. And that's just the beauty of experience. And one or the other, it's perfectly fine. And that's why control is completely bound with identity, 100%. Because you have to be someone to lose something, right? If you are no one, who is there in control? Who is there to lose anything? Who is there to judge what is success or not success if you control something? So control and identity are really one thing.
I could ask another thing, but I feel like I'm taking a lot of space. But maybe it's because my
Of course
first
you
time
can.
here.
No, you can ask everything you want.
Yeah, just remembered something.
Bye.
Bye. Something you said in the beginning, that one cannot find boundaries in one's experience, and I was wondering, do you mean like when you, for example, what you see, that there's always, to whatever you would normally call an object, there's a background. So in that sense, you actually don't see any separation. It's just what your mind is creating. Yeah, maybe also because it's combining like information that you would get from feeling something. You feel that you would feel a boundary there, but actually you then kind of combine the sensation with the visual experience to create some sense of boundary. Is that what you're referring to? I wasn't sure if I understood what you mean with no boundary.
You can't find boundary in your experience. I don't know what is confusing about that. What part?
Yeah.
Really, I don't understand.
Yeah, like when I see, I mean, I'm looking at my laptop now, then I see the border of my laptop, and it's what normally I think on everyday speech I would relate this being a boundary of this object. That's.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So boundary have a limitation appear in different field of our experience. Right? If in the site you will see different object and you will see this shape, right, of the screen is different from the shape of the bottle. I love this bottle. I'm using it more and more. You know, it's different. The screen and the bottle are two different objects, right?
Right.
Obviously. But then if you are more sensitive, you will see that there is no color always appear with a shape. Okay? If you see a shape, you see a color. And if you see a color, you are seeing a shape. There you never find an experience of color without a shape. And you never find an experience of shape without color. So the shape and the color are one thing, are two different words for one experience. Yes? Now, if you take the full field of seeing, because often our gaze, our attention is very, very narrow on one focus, right? That if I take this bottle, I focus on the bottle, this is one bottle, right? One thing, it's one object. But then I say, but this is red. But I say, but then it's not really red because this is not red, right? So then if you start to zoom in, right? You just to zoom and you start to say, wait a moment. This is two different colors here, right? But wait a moment, because this color here, this is white also. It's not red. This is dark here. So in fact, what I call the bottle is an experience of color. It's like a painting, you know, like these hyper realistic paint that they do, that they seem like reality itself, like a window, right? But this is shape of colors. Now, this color red and this color black here, they are two different colors. Do you agree?
Yes.
They are completely different colors, right?
Yeah.
This color and this color, but the color here is also different, right? So
Yeah.
here we have 1, 2, 3 colors.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you start to pay attention, and we can do more and more and more, but you start to pay attention to sight, you will see that, in fact, when the mind says, okay, this is not the bottle, this is the bottle. But then what is this color here? What color is the bottle? It is white, it is red, it is gray, it is this, it is that. So you see, it is also white, but this white is very similar to this white that is here. So which color? And you will start to see that the delimitation, the demarcation that the mind is projecting on the experience of sight, yes, on this one experience of sight, is made up. In the experience of sight is one thing. You cannot extract one object out of the experience of sight. You know, when you take a child book, it's very funny because you take child's book and the page is white and they put one object in the middle and they say bottle, right? So we learn from beginning, we start to think, yeah, of course I can extract the bottle from its environments. I can extract and I can put it somewhere else. But that is in theory. In practice, in your sight, all the colors are exactly here right now, and you cannot put a color out of it, right? It's one experience. You cannot cut one specific color out of it. And even when you say this is one color, but when you zoom in, you find that you don't find the demarcation between one color and the other, because the more you zoom in, the more the spectrum of color grow, right? So when you zoom on a delimitation, you zoom, well, things start to change completely, right? And then this is a bottle, what the hell is this? You don't know. You see, so the more you zoom, the more things start to open up.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's what I was trying to explain, but I wasn't sure if that's what you're referring to when I was saying background, because like what you said, when you pick out this bottle and you put it on the child's book, then you somehow demarcate is the word that I was probably looking for, the bottle, and you ignore this white paper or whatever it is.
Exactly.
It is.
Yeah.
So whatever you always look in or zoom in, somehow there's also the background of it. So in that sense, it's imaginary that there's a demarcation. I mean, it's a convention in a sense, right? We agree when I say bottle or I hold my bottle, I know what it means because I also hold one bottle in my hand before or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we agree to overlook 99.9999999 and to infinity % of our experience, and then we say, of course, I know reality. Yeah, but we just have a overlook everything.
It's true.
But then we gather together and we say we are right? Yeah, of course you're okay. So now I feel fine. Everything is fine, and everything is happy. Everyone is miserable.
This is also a hierarchy, right? Because we say the bottle is more important than the white background in this book that you mentioned or something, for example.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
again,
And
going back to hierarchy.
Yeah. That's, that's why direct experience is so important and direct fact, because the mind is saying some kind of color here and some kind of color here. It's of course the wall is continuous behind the head of David, right? Behind this shape and these colors, there is another white shape, but that's not your experience. So in fact, the white is stopping exactly in this demarcation. There's nothing behind this color.
Right.
There's nothing, the sight, there's nothing hiding behind it. This is seeing. There's nothing behind the seeing to be seen, let's say.
Yeah, in the seeing, that is all there is, basically, right?
Yeah, the seeing is all there is. Exactly. Be careful, just to become realized, and then who knows what will happen there.
Who will I be?
But you know, I speak very lightly of this, like it is nothing. But if you really pay attention to this, and amazing things happen. But you know, I'm not selling happiness here. I'm very practical. So really explore and apply to your life, and you will see things become very weird and strange and more peaceful and more joyful.
Yeah, I like this approach. It's very practical. I mean, the bottle will stay in my mind for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, the gaze, the mind function that way, right? It delimit, this is David, and then nothing else to see. Then, yeah, this face, there's nothing else to see. So the nose, no, there's nothing there. No, the head. But then you then nose. But then you go there. But then this is infinity, right? But now I'm talking more conceptually. But if you go directly, that's also that can be also your direct experience.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was also, I don't know, somebody mentioned in the question, I don't know if it was Paul, like this concept of that we're all one. But I also, like when I heard it the first time, I somehow didn't get how it's meant, but like combined with yeah, this kind of sense of demarking things, it makes more sense. And before I was thinking of it kind of like a matter of also zooming in, like if I don't know, zoom out and look like at the city as a total, then somehow all the humans in that city will seem as part of one thing, which is the city. So in a sense, it's also kind of a matter of perspective when you say everything is one. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the way that we were like that. The first step, right, is I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not that, right? So when you see that you're not a thought, when you see that you're not a sensation, when you see you're not a perception, when you see you that you don't appear in experience, you are whatever is aware. So you have no quality. Awareness is transparent. That's why they use word like pure, transparent, innocence, thing like this, or pure light, because it has no quality. It has no sight, no color, no sensation, no sound. It is obviously it's a fact, but it has no quality. That's what you are. But if you are a being that has no quality, no border, no chain, nothing, and if I am that is have no border, no quality, nothing. If your being has no limit, and my being has no limit, well, that's the same being, right?
Right.
Just on that point, David, because if you do, well, when I sort of like look into the qualities of awareness as such, and it seems impersonal in my inquiries. I don't know if it's a further realization and all that. I mentioned this last week, and it could be a blind spot for me, and it's impersonal for everybody. Is there a sense of oneness there in awareness? Or is it just this impersonal, completely empty, devoid of anything space? Do you know what I mean? Is there a sense of love or oneness or whatever? Is it a further realization further down the line, as it were? Because when I sort of like investigate into the quality, I do from I'm like I say, I'm old out, I'm a bit of a beginner, but I can't find any quality in there. So conceptually, I get that we're all one the same awareness, but not experientially that hasn't dropped for me. Does that make sense?
For me, I see less and less differentiation between my experience is absolutely impersonal. At the same time, it's absolutely personal because it's a shining forth of my own being. So it's completely personal. Everything is about me. But when I search for the me, there is no me. So that's the situation where I am. And yeah, and the way it's happening to me, I never reach a conclusion. Each time I feel that, oh, this is it, right? And but it open even more, right? And it open even more. And the more I relax, the more it open, the more it open. Maybe there is an end to that. I don't know. I've never reached an end to it. But what I can say is my experience is I feel more. Patea is asking something about love, right? And she's asking, where is love, and is anything felt as love? Well, the thing is this: it's love, from our understanding and experience, is the absence of separation. And I feel more and more love for everyone. In the sense that I understand that the I that is perceiving the experience of the other is the same I that is perceiving this experience here. I understand that the other have no choice in this unfolding that I am perceiving or that he is perceiving. And really, whatever I'm seeing from all of you doesn't represent anything of what you are. Your body, your struggle, your question, your sharing it. It's beautiful in the way that I'm perceiving it, because it's beautiful because it doesn't represent who you are. Just as the way I'm presenting here, it doesn't it's not a mirror of what I am, of my being. So in that way, the more I feel that my experience is impersonal, the more the more I'm in love with other people, which is completely doesn't make sense, right? But at some point, it doesn't matter. The thing makes sense so much. So yeah, it's I always feel like I am lost there. Something is happening, and now I see it's like trying to reach the horizon, right? When you reach the place that you saw, but not really, because it's always on your horizon, always, and this is the never unfolding of experience. And there are some kind of step, right? That I don't speak about them, but that change and shift and things happen in life and body and things, but they are really secondary. But what is beautiful from our perspective is this constant unfolding, and I think it's more functional to be focused on that than to try to understand where you are, if you are near, you are far. Who cares? Because where you are, this is your experience. Maybe everyone around you is talking about bliss and fusion with God. Great, but this is your experience. So what do you want? You want to try to reach some kind of imagination that you have built, or you want to be in contact with what is here in front of you. And when you see God and you see angels and you see rainbow everywhere, well, start to talk about them. But until then, don't worry about that. Worry, feel and feel this unfolding. I think this is more practical.
Yeah, I agree. And something came to me the other day. I used to try and get in the present moment, be in the now first, and then almost like, I know connects that they're not word because we're always ourselves, but you know, relax back into being, as it were. And then I realized something that I asked a question came up to. I don't know what it's like in your inquiries, but you know, questions just come out of the blue. So sometimes I start off with you know, a little inquiry, and then just other questions just keep coming out of the blue. And you talk about separation, and then a funny question came out of the blue when I said, "Is there any separation between me and now?" And I thought, oh my God, there's just one and the same thing. It's not getting into the now and getting into being. It's one and the same thing. When you're in being, you are in now. You can't exist in the past. I mean, you can get it actually conceptually. You can't exist in the future. And this existence and
Bye, Patea.
Bipatia, this existence and being, it's a living, breathing experience right here, right now. There's no separation. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, what I'm hearing often, it's trouble with thoughts, right? You have too many thoughts are agitated and this and that. But agitated thoughts is built on the same confusion as trying to reach the now. To believe that the mind can rest is the same as the belief that you will reach the now. No. Just like the same as what you express. See that the essence of the experience of thinking is being. So thinking as an experience is not agitated or not restful. It's simply what it is in the moment. So when you see this, agitation start to stop, but not in the sense that there is no more thought, but in the sense that the quality of agitation is withdrawn from the activity of thinking. So whatever was there, still there, thought, whatever, still there, but there is no more the agitation put onto it. Just like your being is here, and the possibility of being outside of the present moment is not there. So therefore, there's no future, there's no past, there is being, there's here.
Funny you said that, because what I picked up today, I was just lying down and just soaking it all in, and I could feel a slight pull, like I was going to get identified. And when I see things or when I hear things, it's neutral. It's the neutrality. And most of my thoughts now are neutral. And yet when I get that pull on identity, I think like Gian was saying that, it feels like the pull is Paul's got a certain flavour, as it were. And that's where I just recognise it for a fleeting second that, oh my God, that feels like Paul. And then I saw it and it went down. And then another thought came past, which was completely neutral. So I think you were saying it in different words then, David. Or you might not be, but it's like that the personalization of thoughts for me pulls me into that identification where it feels like that there's a me. It's like a little flavor, and I'd recognize, oh, that's the flavor of Paul, as it were. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm seeing that more and more and more and more and more. And I mean, like you said, identification is getting a lot
Yeah,
less.
but it's beautiful because in the way you share, you see the flavor of Paul coming, and you don't fight. As I understood, you don't fight. You just say, "Ah, this is experience that is Pauling, right? Experience is Pauling now."
Yeah.
And when you're sensitive, you see, oh, and maybe it's there, maybe not, but usually it just collapses more naturally because there is the way I speak, there is no meaning into it. It doesn't just yeah, this experience is polling and it will stop polling at some point, and that's no, it just that's okay. That's the sensitivity. You just feel experience. Ah, yeah, and then it dissolves and things change. Beautiful. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. I forgot. Okay. 10:30. There is one last burning question. Otherwise, I will close the meeting. Is there someone who haven't spoken that have a question? Oh, Doris?
Um, so if a painful thought keeps recurring, it's still painful. I mean, I keep thinking, when is it going to end? When is this process going to end? I mean, I could see it as just a thought, but it's a painful thought. And so I keep wanting it to end. It's been going on for 2 years. I keep wanting it to end. And so what happens? I mean, I could, maybe it'll never end, and then I'll be unhappy forever.
Not forever.
Well, for the rest of this life.
That's
And
very
then
different.
yeah, but maybe after this life, because I'm very afraid of what happens when we die also. So, that could be even worse, heaven forbid.
Oh, okay. Well, Doris, I think you are making connection where there is none. You are saying thoughts are painful, but thought do not feel,
Yeah, the
and
thought is
sensation
painful.
do not think.
Yeah,
So start to investigate the connection between thoughts and sensations,
yeah,
and you will
okay.
because there is an assumption that thought is causing sensation, or sensation is causing thoughts, but
Yeah,
there may be a correlation between both. But to say
yeah,
that there are causal, that's a leap forward. Maybe not. Maybe you can have a very agitated thought, or maybe you can have the same thought that is appearing right now, but have no emotion about them. Maybe. Or maybe you can have the emotion without having the thought. So start to explore and create space between both of them, because now it seems to be one thing, so it gets very messy. But if you start to disengage both of them, you will see it will create some space. It will be a little bit easier, because when they are fusion together, when you try to resolve thoughts, the emotion will come and create turbulence. So you will orient toward the emotion, and then the thought will come. So you will feel always kind of push around, and it's complex, it's difficult, and what to do and things like that. But if you start to create space, so whenever there is thought that are painful, it's okay, there is thought, and there is one thought that is saying, this thought is creating the pain. Okay, but now I will just be with the sensation, with the emotion that is there. Because if you say that, and I'm saying it's an emotion and it's not a pain, it's a suffering, because you said that in the way that thought are painful, so it's not really pain, it's suffering. If it was a physical pain, you would say my shoulder, this or this part of the body, which is neutral in stories, right? So there is a fusion, a bound that you are making between this story that is there and some kind of emotion, and start to make space between both of them. And one way is to focus on sensation and emotion, and to see that thought changes constantly, but that there are two different fields of experience, even if they may be connected or not, but there are two different tastes. It's like saying what I see is making me suffering. It's like not really, right? Even if you see something very difficult with your eyes, the image, the color is not really jumping into your being and trying to noise. It's just a way of speaking, right? Well, maybe it's the same with the thought. Maybe it's a way of speaking that often when there is thought there, I feel this emotion. But start to make space between both of them.
I think it's this the feeling that's causing the thoughts. Because the
Maybe.
feeling is
Maybe.
grief. And so then that causes the thoughts. Because
Yeah.
I want to find out, examine why it happened, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, well, investigate. That's what you do, No, no one has answer for you, It's
Oh.
just pointers. So now you say
Uh-huh.
maybe the emotion is causing the thought. Well, try, explore, be sensitive, be curious, do experiment, and see what happens for yourself. And
Okay.
this will bring very big result. And I want to remind you, whenever there is thought about time, for 2 years I was this, for 20 years this, try to say, okay, this is one thought, right? Stay in right now. Staying right now. It's always speaking, but it's see that even if it is for 1,000 of year that you are stuck there, you can be free right now. So it doesn't matter for how long, right? And that's the way I would approach. Maybe it's for 30 years, but who cares? Because now I can be free. So, and it doesn't matter for how long this was present, right? That's another way you can you can try to approach thoughts.
Sometimes I've heard of people who have so much pain for so long that finally it's so intense that they awaken. The intensity itself causes an awakening. But I don't think that's going to happen with me. Yeah.
Maybe you can put some nail in your hand and see if the pain awaken you. See what happens.
No, thank you.
But stories are really stories, and let people do whatever they do, and you take care of where you are.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I make a couple of points, Dave?
No, of course, go ahead.
Like we were talking a bit like last week, Doris, a couple of points, because I've worked with a group that does a lot of emotional work, and one of the big things maybe I picked up on you then is wishing it away, not fully accepting it.
Right.
a bit like we were saying the other day, just the resistance itself
Right.
is part of the problem. So you're not, and that's where the fear of it coming back again and again and again and again. Do you know what I mean? Like you said that time. So when it comes in, it's fully not wishing it was there. So what David was saying about reality is if you've got an emotion in your body, it's there. It's actually there without the word of the feeling. So really move into that. And it's the story that's the lie. Yeah, it's the story that the mind is making up. And then really move into that feeling and get curious about that feeling with no story whatsoever. And you can, when you go into it, like David was saying, it is infinite. You can get quite curious in one aspect of it, and you find out that it doesn't change. There's usually nothing in there that's static. It's moving, and the curiosity, and quite often putting your awareness into that helps by default, helps it, dissipate. But don't go into anything hoping to get a result. It's the curiosity, and it's, not resisting it, and the fear in it will make that bit worse what I've learned. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, no matter what happens in this mind or body, your true nature can never be touched, ever. And so before you do any query, a bit like this artificial thing, the step one, I always get in touch with the awareness who I really am. That's the starting point before any inquiry or any, get in touch with the awareness and then move in. So I could have a like rushing mind, and like you said, I'm like that, but still have the background of awareness where it's peaceful within that. So, your true nature cannot be touched. Be in touch with that all the time.
Is that right, David?
You have to answer this question for yourself, Doris. But yeah, it's a nice way that Paul is expressing to you a way that you can deal with what's happening in your experience.
Yeah. I forget I get so engrossed in the pain that I don't care who I really am. It's not in my field of consciousness. All that's in my field of consciousness is the pain. And to try and look at who I really am almost feels like spiritual bypassing. It's like I feel like I'm supposed to stay with the pain. That's what's happening.
I would be clear with, I will differentiate pain and suffering. Because when we start to confuse them, it's not very functional. Pain is when you have physical dysfunction in the body, right? That it's a pain that it doesn't feel attached to a story. It really feels like it's not like something is not working mechanically somewhere somehow, and that's somehow I feel some pain. So pain, it's a reminder, an alarm to take care of the body, right? There is something dysfunctioning there. Do your best to make it work, right? And suffering is about thoughts. It's your interpretation, it's your belief, it's your assumption, it's your expectation, it's your identity, it's your sense of control, all this. And suffering, it's a way that the mind is telling you there is something dysfunctioning in my mind. I'm suffering. So pay attention to that. Right. So it's two different things that we have to approach. And sometimes we mix them. We say, I'm in so much pain, but in fact it's just thoughts happening. And when you start to differentiate them, again, I think the process of differentiation it's by itself, it's healing. Whatever healing mean, it's healing, and that's what Paul was talking to you, to approach emotion without the story, and to feel you being differentiated from the pain, differentiated from the body, differentiated from the story. They create this space between them, and from that, investigate what is here. That's correct, Paul. That's another way
right,
of saying the same, right? Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Mm.
You know, David, I heard you in an interview, and you said that you every morning you would allow a half an hour to feel the suffering every morning. And I was wondering if that went on for many years, or how did that, what happened with that?
What happened is like I was a spiritual seeker. At the same time, I did a lot of training in therapy and things like this. So I was following two paths at the same time, and I was really extreme. So I was very passionate about trauma healing, and specifically, and first trauma healing in general, and then I get very curious about trauma that happened in the womb at birth and the beginning. So trauma of early childhood, babies, and yeah, and brain development, and how the cognitive brain develop in a trauma environment, right? And all of this, and I was fascinated about that, and I did a lot of work with birth, with my own birth, and I was fascinated about this because birth is a part where the cognitive brain is not there. So there is no thought. So everything is somatic. And even the memory is somatic. Now they have discovered that there is memory, but it's not located. It's not located in the brain or anywhere. They don't know what's happening, but there is memory. So when you investigate those imprints, and it's a framework for exploration, you can't use thought. You can't use any reference frame that come from any reference frame that you have learned, right, from outside. It's an inside process. So it was really beautiful, and I was doing this process at the same time. I was full on non-duality, doing a retreat around the world again. So I was traveling so much for everything, and at some point everything collapsed. I saw what I was speaking earlier, that that wants to heal is that is causing me suffering. I felt hopeless. I just felt the hopelessness of my situation. I did what I thought and what I had access to, the best therapy possible from that I could, and it healed things. It was beautiful, yes, but still something was missing. Yeah. And I did non-duality the most extreme possible, and it didn't, I feel that it's just eluding me. And at some point, I lost my girlfriend. I was living in a yurt in the Swiss mountain, like there was no one, just the cows and the trees and everything. And I just moved into the center of Barcelona, which was just the mess, absolute mess. And my life completely shifted and everything. It was just so chaotic, and I was completely lost. Like everything was gone almost. And that's where I was in this couch, and that's why I speak. I was just in my couch, and I say, there is no escape of this sadness, of this emotion. I was trying to heal the emotion, but really not really feeling it somehow. It was very strange. So that's why I say, okay, I will take time to feel this emotion completely. And it was too much, because I still have to work, I still have to manage myself, and because there was no one really supporting me, so I had to support myself. So I have to work. So I said, okay, I will take half an hour every day, and I will feel the physical pain, the emotion. I will feel everything for half an hour. So half an hour from 9 to 9:30, I was just crawling on the sofa, and emotion were just pouring out of me. And then when the alarm clock come, I just, okay, now I have to function. I have to be a functional human being. You know? And I don't know, and I just function. And that's for 6, 7 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And then other things happen, but you know, things always are happening. But this was a big change, because after this, it took me years to kind of find stability again in some way, emotionally, in my life, in my work, and everywhere. But the point is, there is a surrendering, there is a hopelessness, and from this hopelessness, there is a surrendering, like this. I don't know, you know, I really don't know, and I'm suffering, and nothing. Feel that, be with that, stop, just, you know. And that's why I think acceptance is not something that you can do. It's something that you realize. Is the hopelessness, or the fact that experience is, it is you cannot, it's unavoidable. You cannot avoid whatever is here. And when you see this, you accept, but not because you have choice, because you see it's just, you know, it's there. So okay, that's it. And that's why what you were speaking before about the pain. Some people need so much pain, to physical pain, right? About really physical pain, to reach this hopelessness, to really like this complete surrender. And others is different, but everyone is different, right? And that's why now it's coming to me, but you know, like I don't know how you say it in English, but you know, like this idea that the will of God is all there is, right? Or the will of God and mine are one and the same. To me, this sentence is to understand that the will, this identity, this trying to resolve, this seeking, this healing. I will heal myself. I will understand myself. I will understand the world. I will. At some point, it's like, you know, there is one will, and there is one experience, and there's one fact. There is one being, and this is it. And that's where everything changed. And to me, it was very drastic, and it was very painful. But I heard a story that it was really beautiful. So it doesn't have to be painful. But often it is, because we are very, very stubborn for some reason.
Quite a story, that.
Strange. Yeah, it's, you know, the I don't know, it's a very powerful exploration. I don't know. You know, because like you said, right, my experience is I feel pain. So the resistance come from, I know that it shouldn't be there. I know that my body should function differently. I know this, I know that. I know that some people heal, why not me? I know. But when you don't know, you're like, okay, it's painful, but oh no, it's okay. Because there is no choice, there is nothing else but that. And the more you enter into that space, the more things become more relaxed and easy. The biggest difficulty of a pain or a difficult situation in life is not really the situation itself, is the I know that it shouldn't be that way. This is the layer that we call suffering. But without that, you know, our life is it's really not that difficult.
When you find, when everything just fell apart totally and you realized there was nothing you could do, that and you gave up, then was your experience did that did it feel like you now you knew the truth? Now you awakened to the truth when you finally had to give up. And wasn't that good? Wasn't that really wonderful to awaken to the truth?
No, I would say I find the sense of the truth um, 2 years after that. It took me about 2 years after this 6 months or 7 months, 2 years to kind of meet someone again that show me the that opened the door to the full understanding of this I don't know. Because at first it was this I don't know anything and I'm suffering and it's horrible, but and I'm hopeless. And it was kind of very like a yeah, sad, in a very, very sad sad way, nostalgic and kind of confusion and everything. But at some point it changed to I don't know anything, and therefore everything is fine. Therefore, I can allow understanding to happen. I can understand. I can allow reference points to arise, to function in the way that makes sense. But the meaning is not there anymore so much. The meaning of life. To me now more and more the life is the meaning, but the meaning has no shape or form. So therefore it can have all shapes and all forms possible. So if meaning of life is having a family and be a happy human, that's perfect. I support you to that. If the meaning for you is expressing God, going to church and beautiful, do this. If this meaning it's so to see that I don't know what is love, I don't know what is peace, I don't know what is anything. Allow what you are, allow the meaning of life to express itself in the best way, whatever it is, right? Because there's not more judgment. Like right now, I don't know how useful are those meetings or how unuseful they are. I don't know, but I don't really care because I feel meaning, right? The meaning is the this shining forth, this experience is meaningful because it is here.
Mhm.
And sometimes in my experience, I feel very like distant. I feel purposeless. Like human life. It's like I don't know. People. I feel that society is crazy, and I feel madness is everywhere. But it's meaning because it's happening. So I'm never I never feel disconnected from meaning and purpose and joy and peace in a way. But it's a story, I'm not sure that it's very useful. But as you ask, I answer that I'm not. Yeah, and it's always more complex, and maybe I'm romanticizing. I'm making more a story about it.
Oh, it's beautiful. That is good.
This process is very personal, and the way to unfold it's perfect. It's exactly the way it needs to be, and you can never compare nothing to anyone. And I think that's really beautiful to approach life that way. Because then when you see that the meaning of life is not to live for a long time, who cares? It's to be in contact with life itself. And then when you're in contact with this, it's okay, I can die now, tomorrow, or in 100 years, or 10,000. It's okay, it's fine,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. And hope to see you next week and enjoy. Okay, bye bye.
Great meeting,
much.
Dennis. See you later.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.